The Office, all-time show, arguably the greatest show of all time, definitely one of the most streamed, and we're going to do a top billing draft of its characters. Who are the best Office characters or our favorites, depending on how you draft? This is in honor of A Quiet Place Part 2 review with John Krasinski, obviously at the helm, and he was the famous Jim Halpert from The Office. So we are doing the top billing of Office characters. Dr. Rowe, before I get your thoughts on this draft, we need to determine a draft order. So flip a coin for us. You call it in the air since I called it in the air last time to determine who gets the first pick.
Tails. It never fails.
All right. So
Let's
do you want the first
go.
or second?
I went first.
All right. So Dr. O will have the first pick. I will have the second pick. Dr. O, you wanted the first pick. You believe there's a consensus number one, I'm assuming. Any other thoughts going into this draft?
I can't wait till we get beyond the first two picks because I think the first two picks, even the first three picks, I think are pretty. I would say obvious. I think they're pretty obvious, but I'm excited to do an Office draft. I remember watching this show Tuesday nights. I was in high school watching it for 3 hour marathons on TBS, and then it was still actually airing every not every night, excuse me, weekly
Thursdays.
on Thursdays on NBC. And that's when NBC had a killer lineup too, where you had The Office, you had was it 30 Rock, and then you had even they would mix in like a show every once in a while. They throw in a different pilot. One that I remember is Outsourced. Remember that show, Ricky
Yeah,
Flips?
outsource. One was it only one season?
Yeah, but the only reason I watched it is because like it reminded me of The Office. I don't know
Yeah.
why. It just did, you know. It was just basically The Office in India, you know. But
Yeah.
that's a callback for any of you who were watching Thursday night NBC. But I'm jacked, and guess what? I'm gonna lead it off. I'm just gonna go. Right.
Go,
I'm
go,
just gonna
go.
go. I'm just gonna go Michael Scott because I think it is the greatest comedic TV character, arguably in history. Arguably in history. You got, I mean, you can go with a bunch of different like rivals there, like Kramer, Seinfeld, like Larry David and Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's like so many you can go with, but I think Michael Scott, he's so outlandish. He says whatever he wants. He has no remorse until the end of the episode. But this was the launching pad for Steve Carell's career, and he never looked back after this. He was Brick Tamlin, right, in Anchorman. 04 next basically shooting that year for The Office, debuts in 05, never looked back. And electric character, I think, is the most obvious number one pick in any draft we've ever done.
Yeah, like not much more to say except I do think he's like the greatest comedic TV actor ever. Just unreal
Yeah.
performance. It's just amazing how like the first season, how many episodes did it have? Like it only had like 6, right? And then it just automatically got like renewed for like seasons 2, 3, and so on. And main part was because of Michael Scott and Steve Carell. So
Right.
I
And
clear
this
number one.
and this show has taken over streaming. I know it's not on Netflix anymore. It dominated for years, but that was after the show stopped airing. The show was a phenomenon later on, like season 1 and 2, not really a phenomenon, but then it hit like 3, 4, 5. Like it started to become massive. And why did it become massive? Because of Steve Carell's character, but also because of the supporting cast, which we're about to get into. But obviously Steve Carell's the anchor.
He's the anchor, but guess what? Who's the assistant to the regional manager? It's going to be Dwight Schrute. That's the clear number 2 pick as well. The mustard shirts, Battlestar Galactica, Bears beats. I know I said it in the wrong order. All-time character. I don't think Rainn Wilson, unfortunately, didn't really do much after The Office. He did one movie, The Rocker, which I actually do like. But other than that, like
I
he's the
love the
White Schrute.
rocker.
He's the White Schrute. Clear number 2 pick here.
Iconic look, glasses, split hair, right? Just like maybe one of the most iconic looks. We're talking about iconic characters here. So iconic looks for a comedic character. Um the way he speaks even is like no one speaks like Dwight Schrute. One of the most popular Halloween costumes probably for any
Yes.
college kid. You just need the square glasses, part your hair a little bit, and you just gotta say
The mustard
Bears
shirt.
beats Battlestar Galactica. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. So great pick. I mean, those were the clearest 1-2. That's the best 1-2 since what was who would name it what was a more obvious 1-2? Thinking like drafts. If Greg Oden panned out, it was Greg Oden, Kevin Durant. But those were the obvious 1-2. Those drafts. That's how
Yeah,
obvious
I
these
see
were.
what you're
You know
saying.
what I mean?
I can't think of another example right now, but There's got to be a
I,
better
I
one.
almost I almost said Jordan, like Sam Bowie with number 2.
Whoa. Whoa.
I was gonna say
No, no, no.
no, but number 1 pick was Olajuwon. Olajuwon. If it was Olajuwon
Yeah,
Jordan, that's what I would have said. But I don't
gotcha.
have that option here.
Unfortunately, not. But yep, that's my first pick. And my second pick, I think it's wide open. I know you said there's debatably a top 3. I think that after a top 2 is just that's the next. You go to the next tier. And I'm just gonna go. I want this pairing next to each other because they kind of go together, and it's Jim Halpert. I know usually you think probably of his love interest, right, or one of them, right? But all the pranks that he pulls on Dwight, if I can get him on the same team, I'm gonna do that. So I'm gonna do it. Jim Halpert is my number 2 pick.
Yeah, so that's the big 3, in my opinion. That was the big 3. No more basketball references. I apologize to the listeners. But Jim, like what I like most about Jim was like a cool guy that was funny. Like you never saw like I never anticipated like him to eventually go on to play Jack Ryan or do A Quiet Place. Like I never knew he had that talent because he was always just like the cool guy in the office. And I was always pumped because my mom used to say when that show was airing that I reminded her of Jim. And so I like that. So I like that pick. I wish I had him on my squad. Good pick.
Yeah, like when I think you mentioned a good point. You never expected him to play like be in 13 Hours, that Benghazi movie, or Jack Ryan, Quiet Place, right? Let alone a director and like this world builder of a
Some people
universe.
can't even get over the fact that he is Jim in their eyes, and people can't get over that. But I think it's time that they do. He is one of the most talented filmmakers, right, in the thriller
Yeah,
slash horror genre.
he's special, as you just said in the
The
Quiet Place
man is
Part Two,
special.
and his transformation as Jim, like he went from like a bowl cut or flow, you know what I mean, like raggedy hair, to ended up looking like a
This,
stud.
this guy's hot.
Yeah, and when he turned into like a stud, like you were thinking, oh, maybe he's gonna like do more like movies like It's Complicated, like rom-coms.
That's what
No,
I would expect too.
he went for like the box office, like with 13 Hours and all these action films. So I love his transformation. I can't wait to see what he does more. Like I can't wait to see it.
He leveled up. He leveled up. That's what he did.
But Dr.
Absolutely.
Rowe, your second pick here.
Dude, I'm so happy I'm getting these 2 characters. Next pick is Kevin. I'm going Kevin with my second round pick.
That's who I was debating with.
I mean, I'm not. Dare I mention the Kevin spilled the chili scene? I think about him getting absolute buckets after the office basketball game. Kevin, the way he speaks, and what's so funny about Brian Baumgartner, who plays Kevin, is that he speaks nothing like that in real life. Nothing like that.
Nothing.
He's a massive sports fan. Just the fact that it's a perfect ending for his character that he got fired eventually because he was terrible at accounting and terrible at his job. But Kevin is the loaf of the office and the one that I guess he wouldn't have an entirely grand amount of screen time. Like he wouldn't be at like on the level of a Dwight, Jim, or Michael. But what he did in his screen time was always memorable, and that's going to pair with my pick that I'm going to follow with this. But do you have any thoughts about Kevin Malone?
It shows how good he was just by his cameo. Isn't he like the highest person on Cameo? Like
Yeah, he's the
earner?
cameo king, dude.
Yeah. It's like it just shows how good he was on this show and how lovable he was.
And they
And
all those cameos probably like asked like do the voice.
yeah, exactly. But Kevin Malone, one of maybe the best cold open. Like The Office has some iconic cold openings. He has one of them with the chili, right? The GIF.
That's up there. What my favorite one is the no, 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 no,
That
no,
was great.
no. The whole montage there.
That
Michael
was
Scott
great.
coming out of the elevator. Like that's that.
Jimmy!
Yeah. Yes. But like, yeah, they do have iconic cold opens, but I don't think anything tops the chili moment.
There was so many good like Jim pranks on Dwight. Like I was just watching an Office episode a couple days ago, and it was Dwight when he was on the yoga ball and he's like bouncing around and it was just annoying Jim. And Dwight's saying, "Oh, like my core, I'm gonna have a 6-pack by the end of the summer, and I'm gonna do this and that." And then Jim like goes, "How much was that?" Dwight goes, $25. Picks up a pair of scissors and just stabs it.
Yeah, it's iconic. I love it. The show is so good. Is Peacock free? Is Peacock free?
If you have Xfinity, like the Comcast cable,
Ah.
and if not, it's like you can get like $5 a month with ads or $10 premium, something like that.
How many times have you rewatched The Office, Flicks?
Not enough. No, too many to be honest. But
Yeah.
at least 4. Like,
Like from episode 1 all the way through, or just like watching it, whatever?
so the most recent time I did it, like actually like episode 1 through, was 2 years ago, and I stopped right when actually no teasing, but when someone takes over as manager, um, and it was terrible. So
Ah, when
I won't say
somebody.
anymore. But your third pick, Doctor O.
I'm going with a character that has even less screen time than Kevin, usually has one line per episode. I'm going with Creed to kick off the third round. The funniest thing here is that Creed Bratton's actual name in real life is Creed Bratton. So that, like, literally, if he tries to do another movie, anything, show, he's just Creed Bratton. You know, he's that's just who he is. But the the creepy vibe that he gives, usually you have that guy in the office you're always suspect of, and everyone talks about behind their back. That's Creed, you know. So the ones that they're crapping on or whatever, but more like you don't talk about him too much because you're afraid he might kill you. Like so, I'm very much a Creed fan. I remember in high school, me and my buddies at lunch, we just like go back and forth with Creed lines. That's like because like he was still like because they were so memorable and he only had one per episode. So if we like saw it on a Thursday night, we come Friday and then we like say the Creed line to each other, like, oh crap, yeah, there we go. But
Right.
I'm so glad I got Ken Malone and Creed back to back. I feel like they're not nearly the same character at all, but like they are minimal screen time, memorable moments.
That's why, like in my draft strategy, when I knew Michael Scott was going one and Dwight had to go two, right? And if I didn't pick one of the two that you just picked, Kevin or Creed, having those on the same team and those memorable moments is just very good to have on your board. Like
Mhm.
it's just to have those memorable moments because they don't have like that many lines, right? Like you said, but every time they do speak, it's memorable. So it's
Right.
just like you got that. So I'm a little jealous, but it's my pick now. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Um,
This is where it gets interesting because I think those were the two obvious ones that weren't the star studs. They weren't the Dwight, Jim, Michael. Now it's just like you get the pick of the rest. You know.
okay. Well, this person went to Cornell, and I'm gonna go Andy Bernard. Unlike a lot of people, I actually really liked him as manager, even though like obviously he's not nearly as good as Michael Scott. But just his whole character when he got introduced from the Stanford office coming to Scranton, and him and actually no teasing picks, but him and the other Stanford people came along, and he was one of the few that stayed, and then he was the only one that ended up staying for the rest of the show. It just showed how good he was. And Ed Helms just got a new Peacock show, basically being Andy again, and I think it just came out, so it just shows how iconic that character is. So Andy Bernard is going to be my pick here.
Uh, so I hated him as manager, but the the first couple seasons of Andy, he was lining up to be the next Michael Scott. Like he was lining up to be like that level of like wacky. And he's like almost wackier than Michael Scott. Michael Scott was just flat out dumb. Andy was just like an idiot, you know? Like I don't even know, that doesn't even make sense. But like Andy is just like I don't even know how to describe him. He's just such a random dude. He is
A
hilarious,
suck up.
suck up, but an oddball. He's an oddball. Like whether it be him on the acapella group, him with the nicknames, and I think
Tuna.
even him just like, but he has those moments too. Like he punching through a wall. That like that Andy scene is probably the most iconic Andy scene,
Right.
right? Um, but yeah, yelling tuna. But and it's also funny because his relationship with another character that could be listed later and like his dynamic with Dwight, his rivalry with Dwight takes the show to another level because you have the Jim and Dwight rivalry, but then you have others spawning off of that. So now you have Andy and Dwight, and they have and then like them dueling, and then we also forget Andy's a major part of the parkour circuit with Michael Scott,
Oh
Dwight,
yes.
right? So they're the big three when it comes to the parkour team. So I like it. So I like the first half of Andy. I don't like the second.
When you mentioned the punch scene, like just the acapella ringtone, Rocket Robin, do tweet, diddy, acapella going in the ceiling, and after he punches it, Jim just closes the flip phone and stares at the camera. Jim has the best like camera stares, like breaking the fourth wall. He has the
The
best.
best, the
Unreal.
best. It's him and Deadpool.
Deadpool, yeah. But okay, so then my fourth pick, I'm gonna go Meredith. I just think
Meredith.
I think she has like arguably the most iconic moments other than like the big two or big three, right? She has like she got hit by a car. There's the
Oh my
bat.
god, that part with Michael in the that's after Michael burned his foot right on the
Yeah,
floor.
yeah, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh
That
my
is like the
god.
most cringe I've ever like heard Michael Scott speak after she got hit by a car. And then he's putting his foot like trying to put it through the CAT scan or the MRI machine or
Right.
whatever. I was just I can't do it. I almost had to like turn away from it. It was so cringe. But she also you talk about iconic scenes, Christmas party episode at the end
Christmas
with
party.
Michael.
Christmas party. Christmas party episode.
No,
Like
but
she was on fire. When she was on fire.
Michael when Michael she like takes her shirt off and then Michael just he goes like
Yeah.
then walks out like that. Like,
You would check it out on our YouTube, but Dr. O just
oh
flashed
my
the camera at the
oh
screen.
my god. That moment is incredible. Meredith is almost like that same level of Creed where she's gonna make a one scene, one line appearance. You know, she's going to be something related to booze or partying hard, but it nails every time. It hits. So I like the pick.
Yes. In her house too, with her son who's crazy.
Mhm.
That was great too.
Oh,
But
dude, when he came to work,
yeah.
then with him and Dwight had the rivalry. Everyone has rivalries with Dwight.
Everyone has rivalries with Dwight.
Oh yeah.
But your fourth pick here.
I'm going to go with David Wallace as my next pick. You gotta suck it. He is kind of an interesting arc with his character. He goes from like the all business type dude. Obviously, the sale happens or wherever he's now no longer Dunder Mifflin, but he is one person that like I liked his interactions with Michael. He wasn't always the funniest dude in the show, but there are times where like his eye rolls, he knows how stupid Michael is, but deep down, he's friends with Michael. Like he understands Michael, if you know what I mean. I
Oh
guess,
yeah,
but
like Michael views him as like a good friend, and he's like
yes,
just very
yes,
like
it's not always
he's more friendly than he should be
it's
with
not
him.
always mutual. It's not always
Right.
mutual, but like eventually, like deep down, David knows he's friends with Michael. And Michael brought a serious, David Wallace brought a serious tone to the show at times, but also he wasn't afraid to crack a joke or two. But one of my favorite episodes is when Michael goes to visit him in his house with his son, who's crushing the drums, he has the suck it idea.
Right.
So and that scene is ingrained in my memory forever. So I'm gonna go David Wallace, my next pick.
And Andy Buckley, who plays him, is good in Curb as well. He
Mm.
made a couple appearances in
Newest
Curb.
season?
No, not newest, but just in the past. Like there's so many episodes of Curb, and they're all like just random episodes, not necessarily like a clear arc, right? So I can't necessarily name one, but you could just Google it. Like he's very good at like because Curb, like a lot of that's just ad lib, right? Just playing off of each other. So I
Right.
feel like him and Michael Scott, Steve Carell, like did that all the time, and you kind of feel that with that relationship, and that's what makes him like a good pick here in this draft. A top 10 Office character, at least in your eyes, like he's worthy. So good pick.
Yeah. It's just like he is like the eye roll without doing the eye roll. That's like his character, you know? It's like whenever Michael speaks, he's like this goddamn idiot.
Yeah,
But I
like
love him.
when they're when they're at the board meeting, like the stockholders meeting or whatever.
Yo, yeah, but it was oh my gosh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Was he trying to think and then like the parts where Michael is like secretly seeing Jan and like him and Jan have this on and off thing. And David Wallace is somehow usually in the middle of it, whether at the table, at the meeting, at dinner, or
Hmm.
something. And he's always stuck, and he's always just like, "What is happening right now?" So I like that aspect too.
Well, round out your draft with your fifth pick.
Man, my fifth pick. I'm gonna go Stanley. Gonna go Stanley as my fifth pick. A guy who's not afraid to give it to Michael and talk about someone who's not afraid to say Michael's an idiot. Like David Wallace never really said that to him. Stanley was no fear. No fear. And all he cared about was cashing that check, going on vacation. And one of the most jaw-dropping moments is when you find out Stanley's having an affair. That is one of the wildest moments of the show. Uh, and it's almost unbelievable me just saying it right now. But his delivery was perfect. A lot of these characters, like their castings were perfect, their deliveries are perfect in those characters, and that doesn't change with Stanley. So that's my last pick. I think rounding out a pretty good draft for me.
He has a great voice too, and he must be insanely good at like Sudoku and crosswords. Like he must be the best Sudoku crosswords player of
He's
all time.
always got way up in his face, pencil in hand, Michael walking by, basically saying, "Nope, nope, staying
Right.
till 5 today, nope." But like then the basketball scene, obviously, you want to talk about more iconic moments where Michael he starts dribbling the basketball. Michael says, "You gotta be kidding me!" And
Right.
like it's just that's maybe Stanley's most iconic moment. But also when
No,
he has the
no,
heart attack
no, no,
too.
no. Did I stutter?
Oh, with his daughter, right? To Jim.
Yeah, yeah. It's the
Yeah,
gym. Those the gym.
they're in the faculty. They're not the faculty. They're in the
And the
lounge, whatever.
yeah,
And then he goes like, "You better take your eye." He's like, I'm trying to remember what he said now. He's like, "Oh, I'll put it back for you." I forgot what he said, but I know what you're saying. Did I stutter?
yeah. Did I?
Maybe is that the right scene? God dang it! Is that the same? Is that the
I
same scene?
I didn't think so, but now my mind's in a blender trying to think. I'm just mashing
Man,
up all of Stanley moments now.
because I was thinking of the part where it's like he's like, oh, he goes to Jim, and it just came to me. He's like, "Have you lost your damn mind, boy?"
Yeah,
like right
yeah. That,
after, like after he's like, I forgot what happened to his daughter. His daughter like tried to like slip like her number to him or something like that, and like Jim was I wanted nothing to do with it, and he was just plastered against the wall. But yeah, I gotta figure out the did I stutter part. Dang it! Like the audience is gonna kill us for that.
well, I'll round out the draft here. I was thinking about going like personal with my with the next highest on my big board, but I think this person just needs to be picked, and it's gonna be Pam. Pam just has to be picked. I'm not. I know, but I have Jim on my board. It makes sense to pair them, and she's like kind. Besides Michael Scott, like she's kind of is the Office. Like she's the heart and soul of the Office. So I feel like she needs to be picked in a top 10 draft here. The Chili's, Pam at Chili's. And end it with
I
that.
feel God in this. I feel God in this Chili's tonight.
Well, that's going to round out our draft. Before we do honorable mentions, let me just read them off here. So Dr. O has Michael Scott, Kevin Malone, Creed, David Wallace, and Stanley Hudson. Ricky Flicks has Dwight Schrute, Jim Halpert, Andy Bernard, Meredith Palmer, and Pam Beasley or Halpert. Dr. O, honorable mentions.
Angela for sure. I mean, we're gonna talk about episodes of The Office. I think of my favorite. I think a lot of people's favorite is the fire drill episode where you find out Angela's just hiding cats in the ceiling of Dunder Mifflin, and then Angela is like the whole dynamic with Dwight cheating on Andy. That whole thing is like something that is one of the funnier subplots to the show. And like I don't know if I'd ever draft her. She's so snarky and like does
Yeah.
whatever she wants, and she's such like an uptight like bitch. I don't know. She's just that's who she is.
Yeah.
All time resting B face too. Like it's just
Yeah. I didn't feel comfortable drafting her. I didn't even put her on my board just to make sure I didn't even have the thought enter my mind. But the senator with Oscar, another
oh my
honorable mention.
god, that was
That was a
also a
great storyline.
ridiculous dynamic too. Oh
So,
my god.
so I
And
guess,
she knew about it. It's
and she
so
knew about it.
terrible.
So,
Like,
another honorable mention for me, Aaron. That's who I was
I
toying
like
with as
Aaron.
my 10th pick. I really like Aaron. I think she's hilarious. She's like dumb, but also just like hilarious at the same time. And it was a great, like a quote unquote replacement for Pam as a secretary role. Something a little different, a little quirky.
That actress is getting canceled right now.
Oh, really? I'm glad I didn't pick her then.
Dude, you don't know about this?
Uh,
So Aaron, I don't know who plays Aaron, but there was a thing. I know KFC from Barstool did a 1 minute man, which he does like about anything happening in like on the internet, like something big happens, where she like won when she was like 17 or 18. She won the like queen of some ball or something, and it has roots to the KKK.
oh, wow. That's not good.
No, roots to the KKK. So it's like her family is like old, like plantation, like type
Ooh,
rich and
that's like the
stuff like that.
Bachelor or
But like
Bachelorette.
it's not proven that like she's like in the KKK or anything. It just has bad connotations to the whole thing. Nothing's been proven, but like it got she got exposed on the internet the other day, and
Oh,
so and I don't know. So I'm glad I'm glad you did not pick her, to be
Well,
honest.
well, moving on from that, the next one on my big board was Phyllis, the grandmother of The Office, as per Michael Scott.
Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Bob Vance, his wife, low key hilarious. The 50 Shades of Grey episode when she's reading that and telling Pam to read it, basically.
Oh my god.
So
Phyllis is great.
low key, like on the surface, it's like but then when you actually watch it like multiple times, you're like, wow, Phyllis is hilarious.
And like the scene where like Michael Scott is like sitting on Phyllis's lap.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm only thing I'm afraid of. I can't say it. I can't say it out here. But Phyllis is funny.
And she
then,
wanted
like,
to be Santa.
And she'll stick it to Angela too. Like the party planning committee.
Party planning committee.
Yeah, with Pam. I also wanted to bring up Daryl. Daryl didn't get picked. I don't think he's a top 10 character, to be honest. I just don't feel like he's there. There's so many good supporting cast members. He came on a little later in the scene, similar to like an Andy Bernard. He was always there, but he didn't become a more prominent like character in the series until later seasons in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And
but even when he did, he still got overshadowed.
Right. Yeah. But then he obviously he gets his own office and everything in the in Scranton, and like when he goes up from the warehouse, he's representing all the boys downstairs.
Yeah.
And girls. There's
him and Andy had a good relationship, good chemistry moving forward.
I think of like one of the best memes or gifs, I should say, is like Oscar, Daryl, I think Kevin dancing, right? So like they're doing a quick scene, and then like Oscar's doing that.
Right. Yes.
So and like that's one of the best memes or whatever. But I just don't think, and like him, I guess, with Michael in the car, that's what's an iconic moment too. But I don't think he just doesn't belong on the same list. Maybe you could argue, like I made a pick on David Wallace. You would argue Daryl is probably a better character than David Wallace, but personally, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then lastly, I just want to say my last one, D'Angelo Vickers, just for like the juggling scene to Evanescence, where he's saying, where he's having the fake balls. And he's on the drop. He keeps going. Phyllis, I need you to stay completely still.
Do not move your head. Let's give a big round of applause for Phyllis.
So good. Yeah, but that does it for my. Those are mine.
A lot of people hate on Will Ferrell for that, but
really,
yeah, right. I think a lot of people don't like him in that little cameo, like couple episodes there.
No one liked anybody replacing Michael Scott, dude.
Yeah,
it was a lose situation. Will Ferrell's the best you were going to do.
Well, another one that replaced Michael Scott for a little bit, Robert California, James Spader. He was pretty good. Not top 10, but I just wanted to mention his name because I think he was also someone where I think he doesn't get. I think a lot of people hate on him as well. When I thought he was pretty good.
No one was gonna match him. No one was gonna match Michael Scott. It was an enviable situation to be in, right? No one wanted to be that person, but I know they were rotating people too to see like, okay, that's basically what it was.
Yeah, Idris Elba.
It was almost like a tryout, but like Idris Elba was there like also middle of earlier seasons. So you had him,
Jim Carrey,
was Jim Carrey in it for an episode?
He was one of the interviews.
Yeah. Because I know they were rotating people, and that was a huge thing when it came to marketing post Michael Scott. Was that they were trying out different.
There were betting odds. There were betting odds of like who's going to be the next manager of Dunder Mifflin.
Wow, that, like people like people do for James Bond. Like who's going to be the next? Who's going to be running Dunder Mifflin? Office. Yeah, that's how electric that show was. They had Vegas odds on it.
Unbelievable. But I have two more. One, Hank, the security guard.
Hank's a good pick.
And then Michael Scott's best friend, Todd Packer.
Canceled. So canceled. You cannot pick Todd Packer in this draft.
Packer.
It's the stuff we can't even repeat his lines on the show.
No, you can't. But if everyone listening, everyone has watched The Office and Packer episode. He makes his presence known. But that's going to do it for our top billing draft of The Office characters. Dr. Rowe, throw it back to you.
All right, let's wrap up this episode. That will conclude this episode of the Drive-In Podcast. Thank you for listening. And please leave us a review wherever you are listening to this, and then rate us 5 stars. Next week, we are reviewing In the Heights on HBO Max and in theaters this week. Highly anticipated film coming from Lin-Manuel Miranda. Can't wait. That does it for the Drive-In Pod, episode 40. We will smell ya.
Later.